Hi, my name is Joanne. I am the mother of 4 children, and my journey with autism started on July 23rd, 2014. My second son, at that time I only had 2 children, was diagnosed as profoundly autistic. He was 2, and we had tried everything under the sun. Immediately started researching diets, put him on all kinds of diets over a period of 6 years after that, gluten-free, casein-free, keto. My husband and I, we refinanced our home and we went to Panama twice, 2 different times for stem cells. We also tried stem cells in Arizona. There's a facility there. And there were slight improvements, more biologically, but nothing with autism, no cognitive development. And we did everything. I mean, you name it, we tried it. All the new therapies, the chelation, the fecal matter transplant. I mean, we went to so many different doctors all over the US and internationally. We were, I could say, desperate to try to bring him to what we thought would be typical, what we felt that he was originally before age 2. And also to give my oldest son, who's only a year and a half older, a brother that he can interact with. We did try brain balance. We tried to go there and get evaluated when he was 4, which was in 2016, but he was too severe to be taken in at that time. So we kind of let it drop. And so that's, of course, part of the Melillo method. We read the book, Disconnected Kids, back in 2016. But again, we were told he was too severe. So we moved on. We tried other doctors, other therapies. I can't even name half the things that we tried, but when someone brings it up, I'm like, yes, tried that, did that. And again, no significant improvements. I had a daughter a few years later, and then fast forward, I had Julian, my youngest, in 2018. So 2 years later, 3 years later, he's now diagnosed as perhaps moderately to, if not severely autistic. He was about 3 years old. There was no speech. He didn't have all the same behaviors, but again, if you know one autistic child, you know one autistic child. And I was kind of shocked by the fact that he was diagnosed autistic because he didn't present the same way my second son did, my oldest autistic child. And I kind of hit rock bottom at that point. My husband pulled out the Melillo method book, the Disconnected Kids book, and we tried again to go back to brain balance to have him also evaluated. I thought perhaps he would be a good candidate, that he wasn't too severe, but again, I think he was too young and they denied us, at which point I hit even further rock bottom. And then my husband took it upon himself to start to research Dr. Melillo specifically, and he found that there's an office that's about an hour and a half to 2 hours from our home. And so on April 20th, I believe, 2023, we brought Julian for his first evaluation. We felt that if we started with our youngest son, who at that time was 4, and we see how it progressed, then we can bring Henrik as well, my oldest child, who at that time was 11, because we didn't want to expose him to any more therapies when he had been exposed for approximately 8 years with, his patience level was very low and he just couldn't take it anymore. So we started with Julian. Again, very little speech, definitely not connecting sentences. School district put him in as I'm sure many families know, an 812 class, which is pretty much a class where children with severe learning disabilities go into for pre-K, which we let it go because we said he's got to be in there, and we're just going to do everything we can on the outside to improve his situation, and hopefully one day he'll be in an inclusion class or a gen ed class. So we started the Melillo method. We persevered every single day, twice a day. We came here to the office for a full week, intensive therapy with him. And within 2 months, I have a video of Julian bringing me, my car keys and telling me he wanted to go to my mother's house in a full sentence, which was just completely unusual for him. And then from there on out, it was just improvement after improvement. He started to become, at the age of 5, sort of like a normal 3-year-old. And then now at the age of 6, he kind of reminds us of a normal 4-year-old. So there was not much speech. There was very little connection. And what happened with the Melillo method is the speech flourished. He started to have a connection with us, to ask questions. And on top of that, for pre-K 4, he went into a 12-1-2 class, which is much less restrictive. My goal was to ensure that he would be in a gen ed class. And after a full year, and again, another week intensive with Dr. Melillo, I think in 2020, end of 2023 or beginning of 2024, he gets evaluated by the school district and he's now in a gen ed class. So he just finished gen ed with a 1-to-1 aid that also works with other children, or 1-to-3 aid. And he finished where he was way below average IQ and standardized testing. He's now considered an average child with the need for some direction with a 1-to-1 aid, but otherwise flourishing, just sort of an amazing recovery, if I had to put it in any specific terms. With Henrik, it's been certainly more of a struggle. However, we stopped all other therapies. We keep a very clean diet. We have focused on the Melillo method. And I have seen, again, baby steps, and I think it's because he was 11 when we started, but I have seen baby steps of improvement, more eye contact, more willingness to listen without having sibs, laughing at things that the family's laughing at that, we thought he was never aware of, like jokes, or trying to play with Julian more, trying to play with Lena more. Of course, my oldest son is super patient with him because they were the two together the longest, but there's certainly more of a connection with his siblings. He's also more willing to read books. He'll pick out, books that are 4th, 5th grade, 6th grade appropriate about the American Revolution or anything like that. And he'll sit there and he'll read it, and we really feel that he's starting to understand a lot more. His piano playing has just, it's become phenomenal. I can't teach him. I was a teacher myself, but he sits there and he just plays these amazing pieces that I don't know where he's getting this talent from, but it's fun to watch. And I do believe it's partially because of the Melillo method. And then my daughter, who is also a patient here with Dr. Melillo, has a left brain deficit. She wears the red glasses. And initially, before we started 2 years ago, she was very socially unaware. Had a lot of issues with kids in her class for a long time. She's just finished 4th grade now, but from kindergarten through 3rd grade, didn't really have many friends. I would get calls from parents and schools that she's just very handsy or doesn't listen. Her grades were way below average, but again, not autistic, not diagnosed autistic like the boys, certainly different kind of handicap, if you will. But as we did the Melillo method with her as well, so we do it with all 3 children twice a day, I have seen her grades improve tremendously. She went from a way below average student to just slightly below average, if not average, and slightly above average in some of her testing. She's more socially aware. She certainly keeps her hands to herself, doesn't touch the kids as much as she used to in the past. She seems to be forging better friendships, and I believe that if we continue with this, she's just going to become more typical with her friends and with her academics. So that's kind of a summary of all 3 of my children. I would say that they're all improving. The improvement I have seen with Julian, especially since we started at age 4, has been miraculous. There is no other way to describe it. I don't believe it's a coincidence. He was diagnosed. I even tried to say, no, he can't be, but they said, no, he absolutely is. Not all autism is the same. The classes he was put in by the school district, which is never willing to pay extra for a child to go into, a smaller autistic or special ed class, they were forcing him into those classes. So I know that it's not something I imagined. If anything, it was shocking to me that he was diagnosed autistic, and I did everything I could to put him into a gen ed class, and I was denied time and again. For him to have gone to a gen ed kindergarten, this was almost overnight. It was just, the testament is to Dr. Melillo. He's recovered my child for me. I can't thank him enough. I owe my kids' lives to him at this point. So it's it's just something I'm super appreciative for, because I couldn't find the answers anywhere else. So, yeah.
If you maybe just real quick, if you wanted to give like a message to anyone who's interested in maybe finding out about Melillo,
Yeah.
maybe like something to tell them.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started this journey, my first step was to read the Disconnected Kids book, because for someone like me who had tried everything, and I mean everything, I mean, we refinanced our home, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, we tried everything. So I was very skeptical. Even the day I walked in here, I was still skeptical. However, reading that book initially, it made sense. It made so much sense. All of the symptoms that Henrik had, all the things he was really good at, all the things he couldn't do, it made sense that there was a part of his brain that was functioning at a super high level and a part of his brain that was just stagnant. So I would say that if you feel that way about your child, that if you feel that your child, my goodness, seems to be a genius in certain things in life but can't function in the way that he or she should to survive in this world, that the first step you should take is to order Disconnected Kids and read it. It will change your outlook. It will change your perspective. It will make you rethink what caused your child's autism, because I think as parents, we all, we blame ourselves and we try to figure out how this could have happened. But I think if you read that book, one, it will give you hope, and two, it will make you rethink what you believe autism is. And then I would highly recommend that you call the office and try to come to New York City. There's a New York City office that I attend with my oldest son, Henrik, and then, or the Long Island office. I mean, they're so welcoming, they're so understanding. They deal with the most severe cases and sometimes and more moderate cases. So nothing that you can bring here will shock them or make you feel like my child is way out of line or way too loud or way too self-abusive. None of that is surprising to them. They can deal with it, and they deal with it with grace, and they make you feel like you are part of their family, and that they will do everything. They will bend over backwards to get your child to a better place.